Hey guys, Noah here from Cars and Draft. Today I am interviewing my friend Jason Rector. He has two Datsun Roadsters. So Jason, let's talk about the 68 right here.
Okay, great. Noah, you're right. This is a 1968 Datsun Roadster, 1600 model. They made three models of Roadsters: a 1500, which had a 1.5 liter, a 1600, which had a 1.6, and a 2000, which had a 2 liter overhead cam. Obviously, all four cylinders, but this is a 68.
You recently put those lights on there, right?
I did. I just went to Amazon and searched vintage amber driving lights, and those came up, and they turned out to be a very high quality product. I'm happy with how they look and turn out and function and everything.
Do you want to show under the hood?
Sure, absolutely. This is one of my favorite design cues on the car is the forward clamshell hood. So this is the 1.6 liter. I've done some dressing up, obviously. Painted the valve cover, put a couple of CB Performance air cleaners on there, and Datsun lettered those. The carbs are not original to the car. These are Weber's, and the Roadsters originally came with SU carburetors on the 1600 model.
You recently put lettering on there.
Kind of hard to see from
Yeah.
there, unfortunately. But yeah, it matches the valve cover real nice, I think.
So is the interior original?
Some of it is. As you can see, I've already reupholstered the passenger seat.
Yep.
I've got to do the driver's seat now. I have the materials, I just haven't gotten to it. It needs a lot of TLC on the center console and what have you. Carpet's been done. Believe the top to be original. Door panels have been replaced. And one of my next projects on this car is to take the dash out and refurbish all the gauges and refurbish the dash and do a completely new wire harness while I'm in there and clean things up a little bit.
How did you come up with the license plate idea?
I don't remember. I think I saw that somewhere out there on a Facebook page in another state. And when I went to apply for the personalized plate, I put a few options on there, and that was one of them. And I think that was the only one that was available at the time. So that's what we landed with, and we've gotten a few laughs out of it.
So tell me a little about the history of this car.
Well, the Roadsters in general, they were Datsun's sports car before the Z car came out. These cars were built from, I believe, 1959 through 1970. And in 1970, the 240Z went into production and replaced the Datsun Roadster, or Datsun Sports as they were called. Early in the series, they were called Fair Ladies, but they stopped sort of officially calling them Fair Ladies after a few years. But you'll hear a lot of people call all of them Fair Ladies.
Yep.
But that's kind of the overall history. It's fun because a lot of people don't realize that there was a Datsun sports car before the 240Z came out.
You told me you bought this car at Streetside Classics in Charlotte.
We did. We originally went looking, we wanted something unique and something you don't see every day. So we went up there to look at an Edsel, which is certainly a unique car. And I believe it had just sold right before we got there. And we walked by this and just kind of fell in love with it. And did some homework on the history of them. And wrote a check, took it home.
Yep, Streetside Classics is a good place to get a classic car.
It is, and they have a lot of beautiful old cars that you can just go in and browse and look at and spend money on. Yeah.
So let's talk about this one you bought last weekend.
Okay, so this is a 1967 and a half, but its title is a 67. Body-wise, it's nearly identical with the exception of what's called the tall windshield on the later model. So for the 68 model year, they had to make some changes to meet new American DOT requirements. They had to have a taller windshield, which you can see here is a little, about 3 or 4 inches more. The dash changed because of dash padding requirements. So this car has a very different interior in that it has the old classic sort of roadster dash and chrome steering wheel and what have you. Other than that, fairly stock under the hood with the exception of a aftermarket performance radiator.
You want to show us that?
Absolutely, be glad to. So these are the SU carburetors I mentioned earlier. These are what came stock on this car. All in all, they're very good carburetors, fairly trouble-free if you know how to work on them. I'm still on very much of a learning curve.
What type of engine is it?
It's a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder as well, very similar to this one. Yeah. And as you can see, a previous owner has replaced the radiator with a Champion 3-row aftermarket.
Do you want to fire them up?
If you want to hear them, I'll be glad to.
Let's fire the white one up first.
Okay. You'll love the sound of this. I just put a new thrust turbo muffler on it.
Sounds great.
Thank you. And the 67 is obviously still very stock. I plan to put a new exhaust header on that. Probably the same thrust turbo muffler as well. Because we're on its way, I'll sit in the car.
Sounds great so far. What work you've been doing to it?
It has a little bit of a leak on the rear side of the exhaust manifold, and I've got some parts on order to address that. Working through a cooling issue, but otherwise it's a solid running car and runs real well. And my plans are to keep the 68 as original as possible. Obviously some liberties have been taken with this car previously, so I'm gonna make this more of a fun racer sort of themed car. See what I can come up with there. So,
Well, thanks for letting me interview you today.
no problem. Thanks for coming, and thanks for your interest. I really like the Cars and Draughts event, and appreciate your interest in all cars.